go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to you just joining us on live stream. Welcome to our in-person audience. So glad you're all joining us today. You know our fabulous band, and they're going to lead us in some music. And so why don't we, if you're able, stand and we'll sing some songs.
I'm letting in new information into this body. I'm changing the old pathways in my mind. I know there's no going back, 'cause I'm running on a different track. I'm letting my soul be renewed today. I'm letting the love and abundance come my way. I'm making room in my life for all I dream. I know I am what I believe, so I'm holding up a vision of me in perfect flow with the infinite every day. I'm letting in new information into this body. I'm changing the old pathways in my mind. I know there's no going back, 'cause I'm running on a different track. I'm letting my soul be renewed today. I'm letting the love and abundance come my way. I'm making room in my life for all I dream. I know I am what I believe, so I'm holding up a vision of me in perfect flow with the infinite every day. I'm letting in new information into this body. I'm changing the old pathways in my mind. I know there's no going back, 'cause I'm running on a different track. I'm letting my soul be renewed today. Let's let love and abundance come in. I'm letting the love and abundance come my way. I'm making room in my life for all I dream. I know I am what I believe. I'm holding up a vision of me in perfect flow with the infinite every day. Letting new information, letting in new information into this body. I'm changing the old pathways in my mind. I know there's no going back, 'cause I'm running on a different track. I'm letting my soul be renewed today. Let my soul be renewed. I'm letting my soul be renewed today. One more time, sing it out. I'm letting my soul be renewed today. Well, good morning, everybody. Now that we're awake, take a minute to greet some of those neighbors out there. Supposed to be. I'm in the right place welcome here. My soul is 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 welcome here. All right, well, we want to invite up any of our kids who are here today for the children's program. They get to go outside in this glorious weather. And just a reminder, if you have a little one who's under the age of four, right? 4 and under, we do have nursery care now available in the office. But this is for kiddos who are 5 and up to about 12. Yeah. All right, well, let's sing them out into this outdoor classroom of theirs. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Ronna Biggs, and I'm your practitioner for the day. Lovely to see everyone. And I'd love to invite you to settle in and have a moment of opening prayer. Silence the cell phones. Thank you so much. Breathing into this moment, I know that there is one life. That life is present. It is sacred. It is precious. And I know that my life is that life right now. That in this moment, I am so grateful to be in this space, this place of support and buoyancy, that I admire the cedars with their roots dug down deep, and that today, on this day, I settle my roots into this place even more and breathe in the goodness of this day, the kindness that may be shared, the love, and I invite the peace of heart and mind and body and soul. And in this space of oneness and goodness and sweet gratitude, I say thank you and release this prayer on this blessed day. And so it is.
We're going to move into some musical meditation together with this next song. May I never lose my wonder. May I never lose my wonder. May I never lose my wonder. May I never lose my Well, our monthly theme is about belonging, and this song dropped in for me some months ago now, but finally has made its way here, and I want to teach it to you. You can see the lyrics, I think. Yes, there you can. So we're going to start out, I'm going to teach you the song, and then we'll hopefully just all begin to sing it together. It's fairly simple. But I feel like this morning what I want to say about this is just all is welcome when I think about even this congregation, this community, and what we cultivate here. That at least when I first stepped into these doors, it was like I knew I had a place, and I knew that I belonged here. And I hope whether you're new or you've been here for a long time, that every time you take a class or you're part of this community in any way that you feel that too. The song goes like this. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Let's do that again. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. I love this because some of you heard this in the song circle that we did. So I did bring it here. So these two parts, you're here, it's not chaos. It actually is that they can overlay. And so if you feel inspired, if you're like, I really want to sing the Here I Have a Place, you sing Here I Have a Place. If you really want to sing Bring What I Have, you can bring that. They intermix because it's just, it goes and goes. So this second part, the melody goes, bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. Let's try that. Bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. Let's sing along. Here we go. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. Bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. Bring what I have, offer what I can. I'm exactly where I need to be, right here as I am. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Here I have a place, here I do belong. Here there is no separation, here all is welcome. Bring what I have, offer what I exactly where I need to be. Right here as I am, exactly where I need. I'm exactly where I need to be. Right here as I am. I'm exactly where I need to be. Right here as I am.
Thank you so much. That was a great song circle we did back then. Let's see. Speaking of silencing phones, I brought you a poem, and it's one that if you've been traveling with me for a while as a speaker, you've heard me recite before. And I wanted to just tell you why poetry. Because when I was young, poetry was like, except for E.E. Cummings, who wrote in no capital letters and was fairly expressive. But poetry, when I was younger, was like, what? And then as I've grown in spiritual understanding, I began to hear poetry from a different angle and began to realize that sometimes poets can capture a feeling in a few words that's very difficult to describe. And so the talk today is about the most daring thing. And so this is a poem by Naomi Shahib Nye, and she is a Palestinian American, and she wrote this, probably during one of the times when Arab Americans were having a very difficult time here. And it's called Gate 84. Maybe you know it. If you don't, it's a lovely poem. I always cry, just forewarn. I practice and then it doesn't work. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal, after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor wailing, "Help! Help," said the flight agent. Talk to her. What is her problem? We told her the flight was going to be late, and she did this. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly, "Shu dawa, shu biduk, habibti, stani shwe mid fatlak, shu bit siwi." The moment she heard any word she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely, and she needed to get to El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. And I said, no, we're fine. You'll get there just later. Who's picking you up? Let's call him. We called her son, and I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons, just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, that they had 10 shared friends. And then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I knew and let them chat with her? And this all took up to 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamul cookies, little powdered sugar, crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts from her bag, and was offering them to all the women at the gate. And to my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo, we were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There are no better cookies. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered with powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing. with green furry leaves, such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant, always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, this is the cry part, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in, the shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug them all those women. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost. Isn't that beautiful? And I pretty much made it without crying. That's a miracle. So doing the daring thing, the most daring thing, has to do with a quote from Kurt Vonnegut, who, as I get older, seems more and more wise. I don't know. He was scary when I was younger. But he said, what should young people do with their lives today? Many things, obviously. But the most daring thing is to create stable communities in which the terrible disease of loneliness can be cured. And actually, that's not just young people, is it? And that's kind of what we're up to here, is seeking to create a community that is open enough and safe enough so that people can be known and vulnerable and received and loved. And, so I could tell you all the kinds of things we do around here, and hopefully you'll stick around long enough, or you've been around long enough, that you know some of those things. But it's part of Reverend Zena and my goal to create a container for a stable community for all of us. Because, loneliness is a terrible disease in our culture right now. And I think it's more widespread than most people believe. It might be the worst emotional virus there is. And part of it is driven by, I was trying to think of a graceful way to say this, so I'll just say it this way. Part of it is driven by the fact that sometimes our family of origin is not actually our family that we would choose to be with in our culture nowadays. Sometimes families have become fragmented, and so the old way of creating stable community, which was to stay in a family unit and stay in a community forever and ever and ever, isn't happening. It's just not happening. And while there were some definite downsides, and I'm sure if I had people, show of hands, who can see that downside, there'd be a lot of hands raised. But there was an upside to it, and that was that there was at least this community that you could rely on, even if you didn't like them. They would still bring the casserole over if your mom got a diagnosis of cancer. And they would still come over and help if your dad had a heart attack and couldn't mow the lawn right then. So there was that kind of knitting together. Well, that doesn't happen as often, although hopefully some of you are fortunate enough to have neighbors and friends and family that is like that. For those of us who are not like that, there's a deep need to establish a family of choice, a community of choice that can function in that way, and it's reciprocal, meaning it's not like take, 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 but it's give and take, give and take, give and take. And so that's what we've been seeking to create here, is that kind of community that can be known by one another at a deeper level than, surface, and can support one another through the glorious times and also the difficult times. And so I wanted to talk with that poem about the disease of loneliness and how we can work with it. Because in that moment, at that terminal gate, the separations that had occurred through misinformation about Muslims, the disinformation about how to be together as a community dropped away. and there was a connection made, and it was a felt connection. And so I was thinking about what it would take. And I, of course, can draw on years of being here and in my other pulpit, where I was also seeking to create community, and tell you a little bit about what it takes, and then ask you how that feels for you. So, in my view, there are two really deep capacities that we have as factory equipment, but sometimes have been shoved into a closet and they're sort of dusty, and we need to bring them out and shake them out so that they're more available to us, and they're difficult. So I'll start with the easiest one first, and that is curiosity. Now that doesn't sound so hard, does it? But I'll give you an example from my aunt's memorial. My aunt's family, who I adore, are far left of the political spectrum. But they're all incredibly brilliant people with PhDs and all sorts of things. And so as I was sitting there and we were discussing different things, one of the cousins brought up the far right ideas. And instead of just bashing them, they began to debate back and forth, and I mean with curiosity, with deep curiosity. And it was really beautiful for me to hear, this willingness, I guess is what it was, a willingness to be curious about both sides and to consider how to relate in a situation where you might not match up in that realm, but you could still be curious and open and objective and willing. And you may have noticed that some of that has fallen away in our culture. And to create a stable community where people feel safe, that needs to be brought fully in. Curiosity, fully in. And I got to tell you, it's not very comfortable. For a long time, being the queen of this place, there's an expression in the minister biz, and it goes like this: yeah, well, kill the king, kill the queen. Because there are people that if you rise to a level of authority of any sort, stones get thrown. You guys have been fantastic, by the way. Those of you who have been here, I haven't had a lot of that, but recently I have. And it's not unexpected, sadly. And so, the first response when we have someone objecting to our very being is to kind of wall up, right? And that walling up doesn't allow curiosity out of the closet. And so felt myself kind of, and then went, okay, let's get curious. And that's the question I ask myself, Thompson, is let's get curious here. What is being shared, and how can I take the sharing, strip it of the mean stuff, and just sort of look at what's being offered? Doesn't mean I'm going to interact with the stone thrower, by the way. So if you've got stone throwers in your own life, which sometimes we do, doesn't mean you're going to buddy up and be friends, because maybe that's not called for. But it is valuable to have curiosity, even when people have problems with you. And so that's part of what allows a community like this, and communities of young people and old people and in-between people, to actually form, is being willing to be curious about one another and actually really take to heart the exchange of communication and sit with each other in that way. This can happen online, and this can happen in person, and it probably needs to happen in both spheres for a real stable community to begin to form. So the second and more difficult task is something that Brené Brown has become famous for. So you know where I'm going, right? And that's vulnerability. And, I don't know how many of you can be vulnerable in your work. For me, it's a requirement. In order to actually show you my heart and my knowing, I have to actually be willing to be vulnerable, even to the stone throwers. And so I've learned a lot about vulnerability, and I have to say I'm totally on Brene Brown's team. Her research showed that the ones that were able to be vulnerable to the difficulties, the challenges of life, from diagnoses to losing a job, to losing a spouse, to whatever, those who could remain open and vulnerable to those experiences and those folks were, in a way, able, ironically, you might think, able to actually access the communities that they had created in a way that being invulnerable just can't do. And Brene talks about this in this way. You can imagine a Roman stadium in its glory, and the crowd is going wild when the gladiator walks out, with the cape and the sword, and is going to slay whoever or whatever. And they're down there in the ring by themselves, facing danger, facing what they're to do, their task. And they're glorified as the one, right? But actually, in our culture, that's become the norm in work, is to become the gladiator of whatever project you're on or whatever you're doing, and not allow vulnerability to show at all. Indeed, instead, to be perceived as perfect and bulletproof, which none of us are. That's the hard part, is to pretend to be perfect and bulletproof is to really have a need to kind of remain walled, right? Unlike at the gate of A4. So the research shows that those of us who can drop that way of living, that perfectionism, that workism that is so much a part of the culture now, and instead be willing to be imperfect in our perfection, and be willing to be vulnerable rather than bulletproof, we actually stand a much better chance of experiencing in life the things that all of us want. Peace. How many? Peace? Yes. How about love? Love? Yeah. Joy? Anybody joy? Yeah. Et cetera, et cetera. Why do the gladiators not get to do that? Because they're too busy being perfect and bulletproof, and they don't have any bandwidth to be able to be available to life. They can't be. And so to build a stable spiritual community requires a bit of vulnerability. It requires a perfection-free zone where we can all screw up together or separately and still love each other. And, I'll end by talking about soul friends, because that's the other part of a community that can happen. You and I know that having a bevy of really solid, good friends doesn't actually happen that often. We may have a lot of friends, but there's these friends that John O'Donohue used to call soul friends, anam cara, people that heart to heart loved you as you are, and were with you in your triumphs, and they were with you in your pains, and they were also not afraid to say what they actually thought if you asked their opinion, or sometimes even if you didn't ask their opinion. And these soul friends are precious and usually fairly few. And in the Hasidic tradition, these soul friends are talked about like this. When two people come together who share this kind of connection, when they meet one another and the spark is exchanged, an angel is created. And that angel surrounds them and protects the spark as it continues to grow into a beautiful flame of connection. And it's said in that tradition that this is why people make certain that with their soul friends, their angelic created friends, that they don't let the connection go longer than a year without a deep connection happening. What we saw in COVID was the difficulty of doing that. And, and so now that we're sort of post that horrifying time, I'm asking you to contemplate, who are your anamkara? Possibly it's a parent or a child or a family member. Often they're a little hard for soul, but sometimes that happens. But often there's someone in your life, maybe a few someones, that are so much a spark and see you and you see them, that the angel's been created. And that angel maybe needs a little nourishment. So if you have people in your life like that and you haven't really reached out, I do. I have someone that I need to connect with. It's time. So I wanted to ask, how's it going with the curiosity? And how's it going with the vulnerability? And please, you don't have to answer right now, because we're out of time. But it's a question to carry. And it's a question to ask, how can I be part of the cure for the terrible loneliness that our culture is experiencing? How can I be of service in that? How can I be the one at gate A4? And so I'll do a prayer for all of us to be that one. Know with me as I know that there is an incredible presence, an energy of love that is divine, permanent, always flowing. Like a river, it moves through us, it moves through all things and all humanity. It is always available, and right now I accept that river of divine energy is love in my life. And this love, having no beginning and no end, is flowing in me as I accept it more and more fully, illuminating all of my relationships, nourishing the angelic sparks that fly between those I love, those I will love, and those I am learning to love. This love, because it has no limit, informs me and allows me to be curious and open and vulnerable and accept that sometimes, gosh darn it, I'm not exactly perfect in my delivery. As I accept this about myself and accept the love flowing in me, I am nourished by that love, nourished by my willingness to be open and to create community, one person at a time. And I am grateful for this community that is holding all of us in such love, in such openness. May it always be so, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm going to invite our ushers, Andrea and Mary. You can say aloha to Mary, who just got back from 2 weeks in Hawaii, and aloha to Andrea, who's so stalwart and so vulnerable and open. And you can give them money if you'd like. That's what they're sort of passing baskets. But I want you to know that whatever you give, whether it's here in the baskets or many of us give online or through monthly giving through the mail, we are so grateful for everything. And those of you on live stream, if you're joining us for the first time, there's a big donate button that you can just push, and we are grateful for that as well. It really supports the whole community with the giving that we give. Thank you.
We've got a new song to introduce today. I was introduced to this song last weekend. I went to a beautiful gathering of humans. We all came together in song to support another musician, and this person, Mo, this was their song. I'd like to share it with you. I believe I belong to the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. I believe my song. Feed the earth. I believe I belong to the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. I believe I belong to the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. I believe I belong to the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. I believe I belong to the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. I believe I belong. 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 Just that. I believe I belong. I believe I belong to the earth. I belong.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, what would a service be without some announcements? So this is Serenity, and some of you who have very young children have already met Serenity. She's one of our infant toddler care teachers, and she wanted you to know who she was, and she's an incredible person. So if you haven't stepped into the nursery area in the office, maybe next week take some time and meet Serenity. She's a doll. She's amazing. Anyone who takes care of little people, in my view, is amazing. Sometimes I look back and go, how did I do that? We have a book study coming up. It is an in-person book study. The book is Two Dogs and a Parrot by Joan Chichester, and it's being led by one of our practitioners, Francine Kitchen. It starts this Tuesday, and it's only 3 weeks. The last class is a pet blessing, and so you'll be asked if you would like to bring your pet and be part of the blessing. So if you'd like to join, in our classroom at the Asebedo, there's a sign-up sheet, and give us your email, and Francine will send you the page numbers to read in the book. So, yes. Oh, there you are. I forgot you were coming. Yes, do come say something. Is the mic on? This is Francine, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm one of your many, many practitioners here. How do you keep track of us all?
I
don't
know.
We're on the website. So I discovered this year that there's such a thing as animal ministry within other churches of CSL. And they've got a website with lots of resources, and I took a webinar on animal communication, and I'm offering this book study. This is very informal. You don't have to come to all of the meetings. You can drop in. And as Andrea mentioned, the third one is Pet Blessing with help of Reverend Zena. And you will see other things coming along about animals and our pets. I just want to mention that in case it hadn't occurred to you, you can ask for an affirmative prayer treatment from your practitioner that about yourself and your pet, in case that's never occurred to you.
I've done that a lot. I keep having old dogs that need prayer. Thank you, Francine. The men's group is going to be meeting next Sunday at noon, and whether you've ever been or not, you are more than welcome. Philip Flores in the back there at the soundboard is our leader for that, and it is an integrated offering, meaning that it's offered on Zoom as well as in person. Love to have you come. And then this lovely woman used to come to our center. Her name is Niobe Weaver, and she is a sound healer, and she moved. But she's coming back to visit all of us and asked if she could offer her gift of sound healing to all of us. And she's going to be doing that on August 24th at 7 p.m. There are a lot of people who call themselves sound healers, and some of them are more adept than others. Some of them have had more practice. She's one of those. And so you are more than welcome to come and be a part of that. You might want to bring a blanket, a thick blanket, because often you can lay down for sound healing. You don't have to, but it's a really nice way to receive that gift. Bring a yoga mat, a blanket, a pillow, whatever will keep you comfortable. So that's Niobe. And then Joe and I are taking a group to Ireland. You've been hearing about it for a couple of weeks. Denise is going right there. And yes, Jean Louise. And we want to invite you to come if you'd like. There's only a few spaces left. It's a very small tour group of 22 people. And we go to the west of Ireland after landing in Dublin and spending a day in Dublin. We move to the west of Ireland and really explore the sacred sites. We do a morning Celtic circle with meditation and prayer. And we have an incredible, the musicologist of Ireland will be joining us for a time. To take us to Bridget's Well for healing sound and healing waters. So very, very beautiful trip. And this little, website is where you would find out more information and sign up and register. The group that's taking us is called Spirit Tours, and my dear friend Jim Kramer is going to be leading this with Joe and I, and he's our logistics guy, and also just an incredible person who just gained dual citizenship. He's an Irish citizen now. So pretty cool. And I wanted to take just a moment to thank the most recent Gourmets for Good folk. Last Sunday night, after the power outage came back on, the dinner and a show was able to meet. How many of you were at that? Yes, it was incredible, I hear. Wow. And a thank you to those hosts. Kalish's inspiration, and she was supported by a lot of people. And then yesterday, the picnic and walk in the 100-acre wood happened, and I got to be a part of that. How many of you were there for that? That was super fun, too, and delicious food. Thank you for offering it. Thank you for being guests at it. If you don't know what we're talking about, ask the Ask Me desk, and they'll tell you all about it. But right now, I bet you'd like to stand up and sing your way into your day.
Gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Gonna climb this mountain, gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Leave behind what's weighing me down, wash away what's holding me back. My heart is falling, face forward, feet on the ground, living in this courage I found. The sky is calling, gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. So great to see all your faces today. We'll see you again soon. Have a good week.